कसं काय पुणे? मस्त. मला तर इथं पोचायला खूप त्रास झाला. सॅटर्डे प्लस ट्रॅफिक. मी राहतो फक्त 20 मिनिटाच्या अंतरावर, पण मला यायला 1 तास 10 मिनटं लागले. दॅट इज द स्केलेबिलिटी इश्यू इन केस ऑफ ब्लॉकचेन. So I'm here to talk about smart contract, right? If you pay attention, when you walk out of this room, you will be in a position to write the first smart contract, provided if you pay attention. If you don't pay attention, we all know, then just close your eyes, say thank you, that God you brought me here, I didn't learn anything, I'm going home, give me the strength to come for another session, right? So I cannot go to the next slide because I think not Sarthak, Akshay, right? शुभम, क्योंकि मैंने शुभम को बोला था शुभम, एक साइन दिया था कॉल साइन उसे, जब मैं ऐसे करूँगा यू हैव टू चेंज द स्लाइड, बट शुभम है ही नहीं वहाँ पे. सो दैट्स वाई वी नीड AI और ऑटोमेशन. So first of all, I want to ask you 3 questions. How many of you have never written a single line of Solidity? Just raise your hands. Okay. Then second one, never deployed anything to testnet. Good. Third and the last one, have never ever deployed anything on mainnet that involves real money. Majority. Great. So today, by the end of this session, what I will promise, each and every one of your name will be on the Sepolia testnet, and your name will exist on the blockchain as long as it runs. After say 50-60 years, you won't be here, but your name will be on the ETH Pune guestbook smart contract, which I have created for all of you, provided if you pay attention and you follow the steps that I'm going to talk about. Shubham. So my side of the deal is a definition you can defend. First, what exactly is a smart contract? I'll stand on this side. Okay. So the first point is, what exactly is a smart contract and how can you define smart contract without the term blockchain? Secondly, your name on Ethereum forever. As I said, all you have to do is just connect your MetaMask wallet, type in your name, perform a transaction, your name will be written forever on the Sepolia testnet. And at last, a 30-day path. So this session is not going to end after 40 minutes. For you, those who have raised their hands, for them, at the end, I am going to give a 30-day path, which will, when you follow sincerely, and when you come to DevCon at Mumbai, you will not be a random visitor, but someone who knows blockchain. And given the opportunity, you can ship. First, how will you explain blockchain? First of all, to your mom, right? The chai wala concept. As you all barged in, a guy was serving coffee. That coffee was free for me, free for all of us. But Shubham paid for that coffee. So that was not free for Shubham. So what is the deal here? I go to the chai wala, I pay 20 rupees, and the chai wala gives me a cup of chai. He is bound to give me a cup of chai. Why? Because I have paid him. He has to come tomorrow to do the business at the same place. Plus, there are people standing behind me who have taken notice of that this guy has paid 20 rupees to get a chai. So this is the deal. Now, out of this deal, leave out the chai wala, leave out your 20 rupees, leave out the queue standing behind you. The entire deal falls away. Compare that with the vending machine. In case of vending machine, you walk up to the vending machine, you put in, or you could say, all of us are aware of water ATMs. You go with an empty can, you scan, pay 10 or 20 rupees, accordingly you get that much liters of water, right? So there you are trusting the vending machine, not the owner. And how exactly the vending machine is behaving? There are some rules, there are some codes that the vending machine is following. That is smart contract for you. Smart contract is nothing but code written on top of blockchain, which is bound to do the work irrespective of whoever comes in to stop it. Once you have written a piece of logic, it goes onto the blockchain, you cannot update it. That is smart contract for you. Then that definition was for my mom. Now this definition is for all of us. We all are engineers. So first, what is a smart contract? It is an address. My name is Balaji. The place where I stay, my pin code is 412101. In India, you can find me at pin code 412101. Ethereum blockchain has millions of smart contracts. How can you find your smart contract on it? Address. Secondly, the code. What exactly does your smart contract do? What logic has been written into it? As Rishikesh was talking about prediction markets, what exactly is prediction markets? What exactly is loop house doing? What is team is doing? All those things relate to some functions or some codes. So first, your smart contract has an address. Second, it has functions, and functions are nothing but code. Thirdly, it has storage. Each smart contract has, you may have defined state variables in your smart contracts. When you define state variables, that state variables have to be stored somewhere. So that storage belongs to the smart contract. And then at last, each smart contract has a balance. At last, each smart contract has a balance. So there are 4 components of the smart contract. Don't worry, even if the board falls off, I will teach. And I will make sure that you understand. So just focus on what I'm saying. As an engineer, whenever someone asks to you what is a smart contract, 4 things you must know. An address, where that smart contract is. Functions, the code or logic that you have written into the smart contract. Third, the state variables that becomes a part of storage. And at last, the 4th thing is balance. Each smart contract has a balance. You have a wallet, you have INR. If you have USD, meet me after the session. So in your wallet, you have a balance, right? Similarly, in your smart contract, you have ETH that becomes part of your smart contract balance. Your code doesn't run on your server. So these are now when you will be actually joining industry, right? So these are the runtime issues that happens. You cannot plan it. Even if you have audited your code thoroughly, you are sure that your code is bug free. Even though some things can go wrong. That happened in case of the DAO hack. 2016, just 2 lines of code, rearranged. The state was updated after the external call. $60 million just went away in a single transaction. Within a single block, 15 seconds, $60 million wiped away. So when you are writing Solidity smart contract, you are dealing with actual money. If a step goes wrong, your manager, your organization will come with the entire battalion or army, pointing a gun, then you could say knife or anything and everything. That is in terms of Solidity. So as an engineer, address, balance, storage. What was the 4th thing? Code. Okay, next. For someone about to lose money, for him or her, what is a smart contract? First, it is immutable. You may have watched televisions, right? Some of us are from 90s. Some of us or many of you are Gen Zs. So when we used to watch serials at our time, Shaktiman and all those kinds. So during that time, what happened? The sky was opened, and then एक आवाज आती थी. which we called as आकाशवाणी और oracle. अगर भगवान ने बोला ये होने वाला है तो वो होगा. Similarly, if you write your Solidity smart contract code, if you have written an addition function and inside that addition function, instead of add, you have subtracted the value. Done. Your game is over. Immutability. Once you write and deploy a code, that cannot be altered. So what is the fix? Go for upgradable smart contracts, or before deploying, make sure auditing is completed. Then when we talk about smart contract, if you talk about Microsoft, right? Microsoft is a proprietary based operating system. We don't have access to the Microsoft OS source code, but we do have access to Ubuntu OS source code, because Ubuntu OS is open source. Similarly, smart contract, each and everything that you write in a smart contract is public, open source, and it is readable, viewable, even to those who are honest, even to those who are going to attack it. As told earlier, the smart contract holds money. So whatever you write, each and every thing that gets into the smart contract is crucial because it holds real money. So right now, I just want you to turn to the person next to you and explain to them what a smart contract is. But the challenge is, you're not supposed to make use of the term blockchain, immutability, or any of the technical jargon. Without these technical jargons, you have to explain to the person who is sitting next to you what a smart contract is. I'll give you 45 seconds since I was hiding it. मी ट्राय करतो चेंज करायचं. Okay, done. So yes, what exactly is a smart contract? Anyone? Without the technical jargon, what is a smart contract?
Guys, anybody would like to volunteer? बताओ भाई स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मतलब क्या है, क्या समझे?
Yes.
A code which can be written by like owner, but can be accessed or overviewed by everyone, but cannot be changed by anyone.
Great, thank you. What's your name?
Tirthraj.
Dhritraj.
Yes.
I'll call you Raj.
Yep.
Okay. So I just want everybody to clap for him, for Raj. And then moving forward, so now we are going to write one smart contract together and live. It is going to be 1,000 line of code. So everybody must be, you could say, a good typer, because you are supposed to write 1,000 lines of code. Don't worry, it's just 4 lines of code. I think this is done. First, I want everybody to open Remix, or go to Google, search Remix IDE. तूच कर. Open Remix IDE. Done? remix.ethereum.org, or just search Remix IDE. Done? Shubham? Shubham? So this is going to be our first contract. Okay? It is contract guest book. It has a single state variable called as names, which is an array of string. Then it has a function sign, which accepts your name, and then it will push your name into the names array. This is going to be our simple first contract. If it is not visible, I can understand. Okay, just I need your attention, please. I'm going to explain what a smart contract is in just 4 lines. First, a contract is a class. If you are coming from software engineering background, a contract is a class. The simplest example of a class I can give you is me. I am a person. I have 2 hands, 2 legs, 20 fingers, right? In order to access any function of a class, you create an object of the class. So if you are coming from software engineering background, a contract is a class. Each contract has state variables. What are state variables? If you want to store something in your smart contract, you are going to store that using state variables. Third is the code or logic. How are you going to write that logic? Those logics are going to be written via the means of functions. If you go to Etherscan, open any smart contract, each smart contract is a composition of these 4 things. The contract keyword, state variable, functions. So on the top level, these are the 4 things. But if you go in depth, then you will get to know about visibility specifiers, modifiers, inheritance. But अगर मैंने आज के दिन ही सब तुमको सिखा दिया तो जाते वक्त तुम्हारे लिए अलग से कैप करना पड़ेगा. 40 minutes you must get your hands on, at least you can start exploring smart contract. So smart contract has 4 things. A contract is a class. Secondly, it has state variables. Third, in order to update those state variables, you make use of functions. Clear? Has everybody written down these 4 lines? Yes, no? So I'll tell you, the first line is, the issue is it is not visible. Yeah, I think that would be great. Now is this visible? Ma'am, can you switch off that as well? Yes. Now is it visible? Okay. So those who are facing network issues, that's not an issue. We'll just go forward.
Balaji, can you explain why is pragma is written? Why the class,
Sure,
the object,
definitely.
what it means?
I'm just waiting for them to write these 4 lines so that I can explain it. If you have taken photo, just have a look at the photograph. I'll start explaining. The first line is SPDX license identifier. First line is SPDX license identifier. Since anything and everything related to smart contract is open source, is public, is going to be viewable by anyone, not just your team, but the entire world who has access to blockchain can see your code. So, in order to do that, first you have to mention the open source license. And how you mention that? You mention that by making use of the statement SPDX license identifier. Then after that, we have pragma solidity. What is pragma solidity? You have written code in high level language. In case of Ethereum, this code executes on the Ethereum virtual machine. Ethereum virtual machine understands EVM bytecode. In order to convert your high level language code into EVM bytecodes, you need a compiler. Since it is Solidity language, so here we are specifying the Solidity compiler version. Using which compiler version your code is compiled. After that, we have the keyword contract. Whenever you are going to write the contract, you have to make use of the contract keyword followed by the contract name. Then opening curly braces. Inside that, go about defining state variables. What are state variables? State variables are going to stay on the blockchain as long as the blockchain exists. After that, we have functions. In order to update those state variables, we write functions. So the things which I have explained just now is common or the same across any smart contract. You pick up Uniswap smart contracts, you go with prediction smart contracts, you go with borrowing or lending smart contracts. Each of these smart contracts follow the same pattern. They specify the open source, which type of open source license they are using. Secondly, they define the contract. Thirdly, what are the state variables. Fourthly, the functions. And apart from this, there are concepts of modifiers, then visibility specifiers. So that is out of the scope for this session, right? So this is the smart contract at higher level, be it anything and everything on the Ethereum blockchain or any EVM compatible blockchain. The previous contract has at least 3 problems. The guest book contract has at least 3 problems. So just take 10 to 20 seconds and I want you to answer what those 3 problems are.
It has no return statement.
It has no
Return statement.
no return statement, okay? Anybody else? So what difference does that make if it does not have a return statement?
It does not return any value.
Okay.
It only stores the value of the array.
Okay. It does not have a return statement. It only stores the value in the array. It does not return any value. What's your name? Nirupam. Anybody else?
Guys, anybody would like to take a wild guess?
Yes. Okay. So Sakshi is saying no access control. Okay. Anyone can call this sign function. Okay. Yes.
One more is already.
So first, Nirupam has said this function does not return anything. Then Sakshi has said there is no access control. Anyone can call this function. Yes. Okay, now let us go ahead and have a look at the complete contract, right? And how can we address this access control issues? Then anyone can call it, because right now I can call this sign function by passing in Deep's name or by passing in Nirupam's name. But Nirupam does not want his name to be called from my wallet. Nirupam is saying only I should be able to call this sign function, because anybody can call this function and store anybody's name. Okay? Again, there are visibility issues. So let me explain. First, we are going to use a mapping. Mapping, as of now, just remember it is another data type. We count numbers using integers. We store names using strings. So what are integers and strings? Data types. Similarly, in Solidity, you have a concept of mapping. What is mapping? Mapping is key value pair. You define mapping, against that key, you store a certain value. So here we are using has signed as a mapping whose key is an address and its value is a boolean. So what this fix ensures that if I have written my name, I have called the sign function, then again I cannot call that function. Why? Because I have also added a require statement which enforces the condition that you should not call it twice. If I have called the sign function for the first time, this mapping will return false and I am using negation of that. So when I negate false, that becomes true. This condition is passed. Then on the next line, it sets has signed of msg.sender equal to true. What is msg.sender? The simple trick to remember is whoever invokes a transaction inside that function, if you want to access the wallet address who has invoked that transaction, that is available via the Solidity global variable msg.sender. So right now I am calling Sarthak. Sarthak is a contract, Balaji is a contract. Now inside Sarthak, if Sarthak prints msg.sender, that would be Balaji. So you are calling him, right? And he is calling him and he is calling her. So in that case, inside this contract, I am message.sender. Inside this contract, he is message, just raise your hand. He is message.sender. And for the third person, the second person is a message.sender. And for the fourth girl, the third person is a message.sender. So it is the wallet who is invoking the function. Then at last, we are just pushing the name into that names array. So earlier, we had only this sign function, but this sign function did not have these many checks. And right now we say it is sort of complete because if I call this sign function once and I try to call it again, in that case it will fail. Because once I call it, I am setting this boolean value to true. So the next time I call it, this condition will fail. Whenever this condition will fail, your transaction will revert. We are going to see that in action. So one more line was missing in the previous contract. If we add that one line, we can ship it. When we say ship it, we can deploy that contract. So what exactly is that line? That is events. So what are events? How will you remember events? This is an event. ETH Pune DevCon event is going on. In terms of smart contract, how to remember an event? Event are cheap storage mechanisms. If you want to store anything inside your smart contract state, that is expensive. Whereas if you want to store something cheaply which you want to access off chain or from your front end app, you can store that inside events. So first, it was an incomplete contract. Secondly, we added a mapping. And thirdly, we have added event. I can write it and give it to you. These concepts apply to each and every smart contracts. These concepts. Why do we use events? Something has happened on the blockchain. How does your front-end application knows that? You emit an event. When you emit an event, your front-end application is running a WebSocket provider and constantly listening for that event. As soon as the event is emitted from the blockchain, your WebSocket provider catches it and that WebSocket provider brings the data to the front end processes it, and that data is visible to you instantly on the front end. It's like magic. But on the back end, those are events. As I said, I'm going to put each and every one of your name on Ethereum forever. Right now, I want you to scan this. scan this QR code, and this QR code has all the steps that one must follow. If you don't have a good internet connection, no issue, scan this QR code. The guest book is available on this QR code, which lists down all the steps that I am taking right now. You can practice those steps at home as well. Okay, done? Done? So this QR code has all the steps that one must follow in order to ensure whatever I'm speaking to you, you are in a position to follow that. But if you don't have a laptop, you can follow this via mobile as well. There is no need for you to have a wallet. But if you have a wallet, that would be really good. So for an engineer, as I told in the previous slide, for an engineer, a smart contract you can identify using a contract address. What exactly is that address? So in case of ETH Pune guest book, I have deployed a smart contract on ETH Sepolia. And this address belongs to that smart contract. ETH Pune guest book. You may have heard about crops. In layman terms, what are crops? What are crops? CROPS. In layman terms, what are crops? I am a farmer. For me, what is a crop? Rice, wheat, right? So in terms of a farmer, that is crops. But in case of Ethereum, Ethereum has crops. These are the ethos or principles that Ethereum believes. CR stands for censorship resistance. P stands for privacy. S stands for security. What does O stand for? Everybody would be like, हाँ, CR के बारे में तो बहुत अच्छा बताया, चलो गुड. प्राइवेसी के बारे में बताया, वेरी गुड. एस के सिक्योरिटी के बारे में बताया, अरे वाह वाह. अब O के बारे में कौन बताएगा? So what exactly is O? Don't stress out. That is in the next slide. CR is censorship resistance. O is open source, P is privacy, S is security. Ethereum lives by these ethos. So Ethereum का logo या stand, there are some principles in everybody's life. I mean, आपको एक simple context बताता हूँ, सबको झटके में क्लिक होगा. अमिताभ बच्चन का कूली मूवी देखा है, राइट? उसमें जिंदाल साहब मैं आज भी फेंके हुए पैसे नहीं उठाता. दैट वॉज अमिताभ बच्चन्स ईथोस. भाई पैसे दे रहा है, हाथ में दे, ये तो UPI कर, बैंक ट्रांसफ़र कर, फेंकेगा तो नहीं उठाऊंगा. सिमिलरली व्हाट डज इथेरियम स्टैंड्स फॉर? सेंसरशिप रेजिस्टेंस, ओपन सोर्स, प्राइवेसी, सिक्योरिटी. जिस दिन लगे इनमें से कोई ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है, उस दिन समझ जाना ब्लॉकचेन का डूम्सडे आ रहा है. ठीक है? सो व्हाट आर क्रॉप्स? क्रॉप्स आर द प्रिंसिपल्स बाय विच इथेरियम स्टैंड्स. राइट? समटाइम्स इट हैपेंस, हम कॉलेज में, राइट, कोई सर आ गया, सर आके हमको बहुत चिल्ला रहा है. हमारे ग्रुप में एक रहेगा विद्रोही, वो क्या बोलेगा? याचा लेक्चर लाना है बस. या लेक्चर स्टार्ट हो गया, लेक्चर के बीच में ही खड़ा हो गया हूँ, मैं जा रहा घर. सो रिसेंटली आई एम गोइंग एट अ यूनिवर्सिटी. So there I have a student who said, सर मी डायरेक्ट त्यांना तोंडावर बोललो, तुमचं मला काही समजत नाही. And I'm like, okay, good. So to summarize, crops are the ethos by which Ethereum lives. एक क्वेश्चन है, ये बहुत बढ़िया क्वेश्चन है. इज प्राइवेट प्राइवेट? इज प्राइवेट प्राइवेट? I think I should walk amongst the participants. Is private private? Yes? Okay. What do you think? When I say private, is that really private on blockchain? Until and unless you have a password. Okay. Here, is private private? What do you think?
If it's on internet, it's not private.
Okay. If it's on internet, it's not private. Okay. निरुपम, प्रोजेक्ट आज ही लॉन्च करेगा सेशन में. Okay. Is private private? I have this hanky. Now inside this hanky, I have my wife's photo. That is not the case. It's just an example. Right? Is that private? But if I open this hanky, इसलिए फोटो रखा नहीं क्योंकि लाइव जा रहा है ना. Even she is watching. So on blockchain, let us say you declared a state variable, string private password. You are under the impression I have given the visibility as private, so nobody can see it. Based on that, again let me ask you, अगर मैंने वैसे कोई वेरिएबल स्टोर किया, is that really private? Can I access it? If yes, how can I? If no, how can I not? We'll see. Is private exactly private? So what you have to do is, those who have Foundry installed, if not, as soon as this session ends, I'll sit on my laptop, I'll run the commands. And I'll ask Shubham to hold the mic. Because I'm not Rajnikant, right? Like holding this mic and typing with two hands. I cannot do that. So I have deployed a diary smart contract. Now inside that diary smart contract, Shubham, go to the next slide. Previous slide. Next, stop, thank you. So this is our diary smart contract. Now inside this diary smart contract, I have declared a state variable called as confession. Its visibility is private. I still don't know what a nonce is. I still don't know what exactly a devcon is. I still don't know how to get hold of Solidity in depth. If you have stored that as a private variable inside a smart contract, this is confession state variable, right? Its visibility is private. मैंने तो इसको private कर दिया, कोई इसको पढ़ नहीं सकता, कोई इसको देख नहीं सकता. You are under this impression, but you are wrong. How can I access that value? Foundry is a blockchain framework which speeds up blockchain development. Foundry has Forge CLI, and that Forge has another CLI which is cast. Using cast, there are some commands which you can run, and using those commands you can query the smart contract storage. So what we are doing here is, the first command is cast storage 0x diary. अब ये जो 0x diary है, that is your diary smart contract address. डायरी स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जहाँ पे डिप्लॉय किया है ये उसका एड्रेस है, ठीक है. एंड ये जो नंबर है, सो दीज आर स्टोरेज स्लॉट्स. डायरी स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, फर्स्ट स्टेट वेरिएबल्स आर स्टोर्ड इनसाइड स्टोरेज स्लॉट्स. स्टोरेज स्लॉट्स मतलब नंबरिंग, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10। जितने स्टेट वेरिएबल डिफाइन करोगे उतने स्टोरेज स्लॉट एलोकेट होते जाएंगे। सो कास्ट स्टोरेज डायरी डिप्लॉयड स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एड्रेस followed by the storage slot RPC URL. If you pass in the RPC URL, it will give you a hex value. Because in blockchain, it is not stored as a string, it is stored as hex values. Once you get these hex values, all I have to do is again cast parse bytes 32 string, pass in the 32 bytes, and I'll get what I have stored as a private state variable. So यहाँ पे learning क्या है? On blockchain, even if you use private state variable, your data is not private. Because जहाँ पे आपने state variable define किया है, एक storage slot number उसको assign हुआ है, वो storage slot number से I can query that data and I will know what exactly that data is. ठीक है? So in smart contract, तो next question आपको ये आएगा, फिर ये private क्यों है? Let us say I am a smart contract. What's your name? रत्नदीप। सब लोगों के नाम बड़े बड़े आ जा, एक भी छोटे नाम वाला बंदा नहीं मिला। रत्नदीप, निरुपम, राज कहाँ पे गया? नहीं नाम ले रहा हूँ। तो क्या बोल रहा था मैं? हाँ, आई एम अ स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। रत्नदीप राइट? मारेगा मेरे को बाहर आज। रत्नदीप इज अ स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड इफ आई हैव डिफाइंड अ प्राइवेट वेरिएबल इनसाइड मी, रत्नदीप कैनॉट रीड दैट। सो इस केस में प्राइवेट होल्ड्स। जो दूसरा स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है दैट कैनॉट रीड द प्राइवेट स्टेट वेरिएबल, बट अ हैकर or anyone with good knowledge of Solidity can read private data stored inside your smart contract. So never ever store anything using private state variable inside your smart contract. On chain is a billboard, not a diary. जो भी on chain पे जाएगा, एक simple example देता हूँ. Whenever we have time, right? We are sitting outside a classroom. A guy passes by, जो पूरे ग्रुप को पसंद नहीं है, पूरे ग्रुप को. Everybody will start talking about him. स्वतःला शहाणा समजतो का, लय भारी आहे का, ह्याला सगळं येतं का, राईट? सो इन केस ऑफ ऑन चेन, whatever you put on chain, that is a billboard. Everybody is just waiting for their chance to talk about your code. Everything is public. You may think you have make use of the private keyword or private state variables, but that does not hold the data back. Next. And now talking about security, we all have heard about DAO hack. DAO hack में क्या हुआ था? There was a smart contract which had 60 million worth of ETH that got stolen, and that got stolen only because of 2 lines of code. So that was first the external call was made, and after that the state variable was updated. So what is the fix? The fix is first you update the state variable and then make the external call. And this pattern has a name, or this hacking pattern has a name. It is called as reentrancy. And the fix to this reentrancy pattern is check effects interaction. Akash. The fix to that previous hack was check effects interactions. Next. Now compare these contracts. Which one looks more professional? Compare these contracts. Which one looks more professional? The left one or the right one? If it is hard for you to see, just take your chair and come forward. I'll not ask questions. Which one looks more professional, the left one or the right one? The right one, right? Now what are the problem of it? First, it has a owner state variable. So if the owner thinks बहुत हो गया इनका, that feeling I have for that section of group. Whenever the owner thinks इनका बहुत हो गया, the owner can just shut down the smart contract. Right? What was the first principle of Ethereum? Censorship resistance. Whenever you add owner into your smart contract, you are in a way compromising the censorship resistance principle of Ethereum. Secondly, a post. What is this? If a hacker gets hold of your smart contract, you just set it to true. When this is true, no function will be called. It is kind of you're blocking it, right? You're blocking the functionality. And third, we have ban feature. If right now I want to ban certain users, I'll ban that group in this smart contract because they are not listening. I'll just pick up their wallet addresses and update the ban variable. And I'll also add one more feature, mute. So these two features, first ban, then mute. I'll store them inside the smart contract. So what is that? I am a owner, I can do that. If I can do that, it's as good as I can apply censorship resistance. First, हमने प्रिंसिपल देखा, अब उस प्रिंसिपल को हम स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के थ्रू खुद ही एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहे हैं. फर्स्ट हमने ओनर डाला, देन पॉस्ट बुलियन फ्लैग लगा दिया. अब इनकी वजह से क्या हो गया? स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को आप कभी भी स्टॉप कर सकते हो. स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की जो फंक्शनैलिटी आप उसको डिसेबल कर सकते हो. एंड एट लास्ट वी हैव इरेज फंक्शन. जो डेटा है, आई एम डिलीटिंग दैट डेटा. Right? This looks non-professional, but this is in line with Ethereum's crops ethos. This looks professional, but this is in some way not in line with Ethereum's crops ethos. Next. The cheat code nobody tells you. Always verify your contract, read everyone else's. If I have deployed a smart contract, say ETH Pune guest book. If I have deployed a contract, say ETH Pune guest book. कुछ फर्क ही नहीं गिर रहा उनको. If I have deployed a contract, say ETH Pune guest book, and inside what I am saying is, this is a contract, you have to perform certain transaction, and I have not verified that smart contract code onto the block explorer. मैंने उसका जो कोड है उसको वेरीफाई नहीं किया. मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ, ट्रस्ट मी, भाई पे भरोसा नहीं है क्या? कर दे एक ट्रांजैक्शन. आई एम कमिंग टू यू विद दैट एंगल. मत करो भरोसा. इन टर्म्स ऑफ इथीरियम, ऑलवेज ट्रस्ट द कोड. सी द कोड, देन ओनली गो थ्रू द कोड, एंड उसके बाद ही भरोसा करना है. नेक्स्ट, गो टू द प्रीवियस स्लाइड प्लीज. Since everything is available openly to each and everyone around the globe, that is why a beginner in Pune reads the same code as an engineer in Berlin with nobody's permission, just because it is on blockchain. Next. So, you didn't learn 4 values. First, we talked about crops. Everybody, सबके दिमाग में ये चलता होगा, हैंड्स ऑन बोल के अकेला बात कर रहा है पिछले आधे घंटे से. हैंड्स ऑन कब कराएगा, राइट? इन 3 to 5 minutes I'll wrap up this. I'll go on my laptop, then we'll do the hands on. इस प्राइवेट जो आपको बोला था, then writing your name onto the ETH Pune guest book, हम लोग वो भी करेंगे. वो लिंक भी शेयर करूँगा. देन आपको फील आएगा इट इज़ अ हैंड्स ऑन. सो मंडे मॉर्निंग आप लोग क्या कर सकते हो? नेक्स्ट, आज घर पे जाके आपको क्या करना है? यू हैव टू डिप्लॉय द गेस्ट बुक. जो QR कोड आप लोगों ने स्कैन किया, राइट? फर्स्ट यू हैव टू डिप्लॉय द गेस्ट बुक, एंड सेकेंडली यू हैव टू इंस्टॉल फाउंड्री. फाउंड्री इज अ ब्लॉकचेन फ्रेमवर्क. आई विल शेयर दिस PPT विथ Akash. Akash will share in the Luma with everybody. Then days 8 to 20 you will break things on purpose. आप क्या करोगे, हर हफ्ते में एक प्रोटोकॉल के बारे में आप पढ़ोगे, एक स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कंसेप्ट आप सीखोगे, एंड यू विल डिप्लॉय दैट ऑन टू द ब्लॉकचेन. एंड एट लास्ट डेज 21 to 30 यू विल शिप वन ट्यूटोरियल थिंग. ठीक है. एंड नाउ विल स्टार्ट विद द हैंड्स ऑन. शुभम, अभी मैं जो कर रहा हूँ, सिर्फ माइक पकड़, अब मैं करता सब. Mic there. I would request everybody to just, come close to the board so that you can have a clear look. Those who are sitting backwards. So first of all, this is Remix IDE. Is this visible? So this is Remix IDE. This is the starting point for each and everyone who starts learning blockchain. Now in this case, this contract has no owner, no pause and no delete. Just have a look at, this is ETH Pune guest book. It has a structure. That structure has 3 fields: signer, name and signed at. Then we have our entries array. It is an array of structures, a mapping, then a sign function. Now inside this sign function, I have added 3 required statements. First, you can sign it only once. Second, the name cannot be 0, or you cannot pass in empty string. And third, if I give you open access, you may write your name as 1000 characters. So this is that check. And after that, we just update and emit an event. So this is our smart contract. I have deployed this smart contract at this address. Let me zoom it a bit. So this is the address, 0xCA63DBF. This is ETH Pune guest book. Once you verify the code, after verification, this is how your code looks onto the block explorer. What is Etherscan? Etherscan is a block explorer. Each and every transaction you perform, you can view those transaction details onto the Ethereum blockchain. So this is our smart contract onto the Etherscan. And if I look at the transactions tab, okay, there are no transactions. Then we talked about diary. One question that I asked you all, is private really private? So this is the diary smart contract. It has 3 private state variables: confession, pin, crush. Crush is an address over here. Just be यहीं पे रहो, कहीं पे जाओ मत crush का नाम सुन के. And then at last we have this simple ETH Pune guest book app. Whenever I'll share this link. इसको सबके साथ शेयर कैसे करें? आकाश, I want to share this link with everybody via Luma right now. Yes.
Just share it to Akash.
Everybody close your eyes. I am going to open my WhatsApp. That's it. So I have shared that link with Akash. Akash will share it via Luma. So right now this app has only 2 users. First is me and second is my wife. Okay, so this has 2 users. As soon as Akash shares the link, I want you to open the link. If you have MetaMask, connect your MetaMask, then you can perform a transaction. And as soon as you perform a transaction, that transaction will go on to the Sepolia testnet, and from there your name will show up on this app. While Akash shares that, हम लोग ये check करेंगे, is private really private? So going to कहाँ पे diary. So this is my diary smart contract, right? I'm copying this and I'm on the terminal. Okay, first So देखो, this is a diary smart contract address, right? I have copied it, and then we are going to invoke or see what exactly is stored at storage slot 0. So let me copy this, copied it. Here the storage slot number is 0 and I have passed in the Sepolia RPC. So this Sepolia RPC URL I have already set into the path variable. This requires a good internet connection. I am connected via mobile. Yes. So here we have the bytes returned from the smart contract storage slot 0. The next command is cast, go to VS Code, this is diary, parse bytes 32 string, copy. So smart contract में, if I go to the smart contract, this is my diary smart contract, and I have stored, I don't know what a nonce is inside a private state variable. However, I can see exactly what value is stored inside the private state variable. So I am on the terminal. So on this terminal you can see, using cast storage, diary smart contract address, the storage slot passing in the RPC URL, I get the bytes 32 value, and then that bytes 32 value is I am parsing and I get what is stored inside the private variable. So whatever you store inside a private variable, that is not private, that can be accessed. So has everybody got access to the link? Just open that. After opening that, you have to connect your wallet. Let me open MetaMask. So from account 1, Sepolia, for account 3, I'm just sending 0.005 ETH. I'm on slow network. वाईफाई चालू है ना, बहुत टाइम ले रहा. So here it is. Sorry. So as you can see, let me just zoom it a bit. So these many students have put their name on the Ethereum blockchain forever. So your name stays onto the Ethereum blockchain forever. As long as Sepolia blockchain runs, you will see Pranav Pathak, Vaishnavi Raut, Rashi, Sai, Sarthak, that's my wife, and me. We will be onto the Sepolia testnet blockchain forever. So at last, so before we wrap up, DevCon 8 is going to happen in Mumbai from November 3rd to 6th. If you follow the guest book, which I have shared with you all, you can visit DevCon as a beginner smart contract developer, not just a random guy or random girl, if you do it. And for Indian students, the ticket is $25. I think on top of that, you are getting 33% discount, as Yash has already shared. Then for DevCon Mumbai, exactly 2 months are remaining. Don't go to Mumbai as an attendee, go as someone with a repo. That should be your goal when you walk out of this venue. Just don't attend DevCon as a random girl or random boy. Attend DevCon with a repo. While I was going through the sessions, Nirupam was explaining something to Rishikesh. Possibly a project, right? He was explaining some project to him. So he is in full swing to go to DevCon Mumbai with a project. If you want to go to DevCon 8 Mumbai with a project, follow the ETH guest book that will introduce you to the basics of smart contracts. On top of that, go into the learnings, the 30-day path, which I have shared with you all. If you do it honestly, you will definitely visit Mumbai with someone with a repo. Next. And the exercise which you have done just before a few minutes, you are on Ethereum now permanently. Your name is inscribed into the Sepolia testnet blockchain forever. Nobody, even I or the Ethereum Foundation or anyone in their power can remove your name from the Ethereum blockchain. So that's your first commit. Go make the second one tonight and follow the ETH guest book. I hope that would give you a good starting point. Once you get started, you will have questions. Bring those questions to me via LinkedIn or via any social media channel. I'll be happy to respond to those queries. Again, I would like to thank Akash, the ETH Pune team, for inviting me today here as a speaker, and also all the attendees for being here and listening to my rant for the past 30-40 minutes. Thank you for your participation. Keep up the spirit, and I hope to see you all in DevCon 8 Mumbai. Thank you.